We would call the City of Marine City Commission meeting to order on Thursday, August 1st, 2024 at 7 o'clock p.m. We have a moment of silence to send our positive thoughts to prayers and those in our community that need our support. Okay, now please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brunson.
Here.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Here.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Here.
Commissioner Rory.
Here.
Commissioner Ross.
Here.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Here.
City Manager Atkins.
Here.
Okay, on to 4, approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now on public comment, anyone is welcome to address the City Commission. Please state your name, limit your comments to 5 minutes. The Commission will not respond, but we will follow up as necessary. And for this evening here at the Fire Hall, if you do wish to speak, we'd ask that you go to the orange X on the floor. Is there anybody? Anyone? Okay.
Question, did we change the agenda for the voting thing? Or are we going to talk about that during,
During manager report.
okay, sorry.
Okay, I'm moving on to 6 for approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the City Commission meeting minutes of July 11th, 2024?
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Now under the consent agenda, we have the Planning Commission meeting minutes of May 13th, 2024, the Dangerous Building Board of Appeals meeting minutes of April 3rd, 2024, Community and Economic Development meeting minutes of July 5th, 2024, Community and Economic Development meeting minutes of June 26th, 2024, the Election Commission meeting minutes of June 6th, 2024, Election Commission meeting minutes of June 24th, 2024, 300 Broadway meeting minutes of April 22nd, 2024, 300 Broadway meeting minutes of June 24th, 2024, Historical Commission meeting minutes of April 16th, 2024, the business license application for Quarters MC, and the business license application for the Heather House. Now, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through K as presented?
I'll make a motion that we approve consent agenda items 7A through 7K as presented.
Support.
Any other discussion?
I just think it's super cool. I'm excited about the arcade quarters, and I met that folks who own the Heather House now, and they're amazing people. Really excited about those two businesses, both starting and continuing in our town.
Very nice. Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rory.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, under items removed from the consent agenda, there are none. 9, financial business. We have 9A, expenditures including payroll of $762,237.09. I have a motion to approve those expenditures including payroll in that amount of $762,237.09.
Make a motion, we approve expenditures including payroll for $762,237.09. Support.
Any discussion?
Couple questions. Can you tell me, what's the Sharp firm?
Yes, that is the law firm that represented Ms. Tatman in the recent litigation.
And what is NCL of Wisconsin?
That is a chemical supplier for our water and wastewater operations.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rory.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Okay, 9B, the annual general staff payroll adjustments. And city manager, did you want to
Yes, Mayor and Commissioners, this item was tabled from the previous meeting for further discussion and consideration. I will also remind everyone, we do have a closed session for an attorney's written legal opinion that is somewhat tied to this item as far as a potential future consideration. However, again, we do need to make a decision on the wage increases. I know that it's probably not likely that we want to continue to table this. I don't know the direction that the commission really wants to go. I think I did suggest that because of the placement on the agenda, we really may have some other components to be added to this in the future. And then also, I think at the last meeting I had discussed, we do have some realignments of the individual employment contracts that are going to also need to come in front of you in the future. Rather than kicking things farther down, I think that we all understand that the majority of the employees in the city, either by bargaining unit contract or by individual action that's already taken place, did receive a 4% increase. I would ask the commission to consider at a minimum of at least approving the annual increases for these two employees at the 4%, subject to any possible adjustments that may result from either the closed session or future contractual adjustments. It is a baseline at least. We also, I believe, may want to have some discussion in the future about performance evaluations, merit pay, a lot of moving pieces, but I don't want this to get too far out because every day that goes by is a day that these folks haven't had the adjustment, at least the same of what's been given. And if you do consider that minimum at this time of the 4%, that you also consider retroactive back to July 1st. That would be at par with everyone else. And then future considerations certainly are open for more discussion, deliberation, and decision-making by the commission.
Were we going to do a wage search with everybody around? We had talked about that around us.
So we'll likely talk about part of that with Mr. Davis's discussion. It's very, as I mentioned at the last meeting, it's very difficult to be able to make them truly comparable because each community has different roles and responsibilities. Some are full-time. I believe, Commissioner Clausen, you had mentioned, especially in townships, some of those folks are elected and part-time, some are elected and full-time. So we won't be able to gauge an apple-for-apple comparison, but I can compile additional data that can give us at least a good feel of similar-sized communities, but the responsibilities are always different from community to community, as well as staffing. There are many communities who may employ, for instance, a full-time clerk, but that clerk also has 2 or 3 staff members that take on duties. Their pay may be greatly different than ours. So that's certainly something we can talk about in direction that the commission may want to look at for any and then some consideration. We'll call it that.
I'll make a motion that we approve a 4% increase for the clerk and the treasurer, retroactive to when, July
1?
July 1.
Support.
Okay. And any further discussion?
I'd like to throw a couple of things on the table with respect to the closed session that I think we'll get into other aspects a little bit deeper. For the public's knowledge and recall on this subject, we've got a lot of different contracts in the city that I think aligning them up will help a lot, both for future bargaining, compensation understanding, and there's different ways of getting at compensation through different mechanisms in a contract, right? Different components to it. And so I think a big piece of this needs to be addressed there. I do want to throw out that we did look at this on April 11th during our budget workshop. It's on YouTube, as our past meetings are. Folks can go to it and see. Discussion around compensation begins at about the 35, 36-minute mark. I mean, it's only about 5 minutes long. We go through it pretty quick, but we got our wage scale sheets, and our city manager was diligent in laying out that what's listed here is budget-wise, and this isn't necessarily the wage increase itself. We'll look at that in contracts. But as we looked at that, numbers were read aloud to the public at this time off the sheet, including 77.5, which is a fair bit more than the 4%. We put this out that we were considering this in our budget, and that's part of the framing on trying to figure out where we go with this. I just want the public to understand the size of the increase and the components talked about isn't something out of the left field for the commission. We had this, we've had it on record, we had it in front of the public for consideration. Probably follow more of that in closed sessions. We discuss various components.
Anyone else? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to 9C, the invoice approval for Fleiss and Vanderbrink for $267,600. Got a motion to approve that invoice for Fleiss and Vanderbrink for services rendered for the Safe Drinking Water Project in that amount of $267,600.
I'll make a motion, we approve the payment of the invoice from Fleiss and Vandenbrink for $267,600.
Support?
Okay, any discussion?
Just again, for the public's benefit, this is something that would be reimbursed by the Safe Drinking Water Grant. So something to keep in mind.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to invoice approval for Kennedy Industries in the amount of $166,510. Do I have a motion to approve the invoice for Kennedy Industries for the wastewater treatment plant screw pump replacement in that amount of $166,510?
Make a motion that we approve the payment to Kennedy Industries for the replacement of the screw pumps at the wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $166,510.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Andrew?
I just want to, if I can, point out for everyone, and I apologize, this was a budgeted amount in 2 previous budgets as part of a larger comprehensive project. So it had already gone through a pre-budgeting stage. We've just now received the equipment for payment and an invoice. Sir, thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to both Jeff Schmidt and Aaron Atkinson for putting this all together.
Scott, could you share a little bit about the process of previously having approved the budget and it coming before us again for another decision? Just why we have to vote on it again?
Yeah, in this particular case, there was a combination of funding that was used for this. There was a budgeted amount actually in 2023 as a move forward on this project for a portion of the replacement of these pumps at the wastewater plant, and also a component of ARPA funds that was added in. So there are 2 components, water sewer funds and ARPA funds. Unfortunately, there was a difficulty in being able to get these products at the time. It's been very difficult for us, as the commission certainly knows. So we still kept moving forward. We had ordered the pumps, and we had been past now that budget process actually into our new budget year. It's coming back to you. It may be something that didn't necessarily have to come back because it was given previous approval and authorization, but we felt it was most appropriate and certainly to keep in line with proper accounting to have this in front of you now that we have the equipment and we're in a different budget cycle. The money was still in the funding, was still set aside, but because we're now into a new fiscal year, it was appropriate to bring forward for payment, and we have received the equipment which had not been received prior to.
So this doesn't double count in our budget in any way?
It does not.
Great, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to 9E, invoice approval for the Marine City Nursery in the amount of $3,625. A motion to approve the invoice to the Marine City Nursery for playmat certified mulch at the playgrounds in that amount of $3,625.
Make a motion, we approve the payment of the invoice to Marine City Nursery for $3,625.
Support.
Any discussion?
And this is what puts the icing on the cake of the playground
Yeah.
improvements, and I'd say they are excellent. I've stopped by several times, and it's beautiful.
If I can add in also, this was not just to put in at the new Tot Lot location. We also replaced mulch at other parks. And the requirements are that we have a certain type of mulch that goes in each of these. So this is a certified mulch for playgrounds, and we top dressed all of the other parks. It appears before you, even though it is in the budget for recreation, because it is over the allowable expenditure amount of $2,000. So, but yes, great to have everywhere.
Okay, nothing else, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Berg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, now we have Nyhart, service agreement for GASB 75 actuarial update and additional PA 202 assumptions. Do I have a motion to approve the recommendation from the Pension Board of Trustees, Healthcare, to approve the service agreement with Nyhart to complete the GASB 75 actuarial update with the PA 202 assumptions?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion?
Yes, for clarification for the commission and for the public, this action is required as part of state statute and also accounting requirements. It was placed in front of the Pension and Retirement Board with a recommendation for your approval. This is an annual process.
And
Effectively, it's what, oh, sorry.
Oh, the prices too, it's $5,800 for 1 year and $3,900 for the next year.
But for clarification too, this is what sort of sets the, make sure that our retirees have enough in their pension accounts.
Yes, it ensures that we're properly funding those accounts.
Yeah, it
Right.
determines the amount we have to put into for the,
Right, so that they're fully covered.
well, they're not technically fully covered, but close.
I gotcha, yeah.
Further discussion, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Berg.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
And Mayor Vandembosch.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. We're on to G, ordinance 24-006. That's the bond ordinance for the Safe Drinking Water Project adoption. Then I'm going to read this one. It's going to take a minute. I have a motion to approve ordinance 24-006. That's the ordinance to provide for the acquisition, construction, installation, furnishing, and equipment of additions and improvements to the water supply and sewage disposal system of the city, to provide for the issuance and sale of junior lien revenue bonds, to pay the costs thereof, to provide for the collection of revenues from the system sufficient for the purpose of paying the cost and operation and maintenance of the system, and to pay the principal of an interest on the bonds, to provide the segregation and distribution of system revenues, to provide for the rights and the holders of the bonds and enforcement thereof, and to establish separate series of bonds, senior and subordinate status with respect to the net revenues of the system, to prescribe the form of the bonds, and to provide for other matters relating to the bonds and the system for adoption.
So moved as written in ordinance number 24-006, City of Marine City, County of St. Clair, Michigan, as attached in our packets.
Support.
Okay. Any discussion?
Absolutely. So this is a portion of the Safe Drinking Water program that we have ongoing. As you all recall on the commission and for many of the public, we were required under a administrative order from Eagle to make improvements to the water system, including the water plant. When this all started by way of an order in 2023, March of 2023, at this point, we were in the process of seeking additional assistance from the state of Michigan for both a grant and a loan. Certainly, at that point, there was no guarantee that we were going to get either a grant or a loan, but we were obligated and required by an order through Eagle to perform this work. At the outset, this would have been approximately $65 per month to each resident or user of the water system in the city. Upon making application and receiving a grant from the state of Michigan for the Safe Drinking Water Program, that cost was then diminished down to approximately $30 per resident per month, still a high dollar amount. But fortunately, through the Safe Drinking Water Program, the state revolving fund for water also had a loan program. a 2% loan that could be taken up to 40 years. It's a guaranteed loan and supported by the state of Michigan through the Drinking Water Revolving Fund. With that and an authorization by the City Commission to move forward on the project, it then took the obligation down to approximately $15 per month per per user on this cost. And that was determined to be a revenue repayment. So this is why this is a revenue bond process, meaning through the user fees, that loan will be paid off over 40 years at a 2% rate. This is all backed by Public Act 94 for the state of Michigan, which allows this to happen. And again, fortunately, we were one of very few communities in the state that received both a grant and a loan to cover an estimated $26 million project, again, that we were absolutely required to do with or without any financial assistance. So we were in a very good position to be able to get both a grant and a loan. This is part of the process on the loan to be able to go forward and authorize the sale and distribution of bonds to the city. I can also tell you that we believe, based upon where the bids have come in and have been approved and authorized, we are hoping to be able to see this cost at the end of the day between $8 and $11 per month per residential user. Keep in mind that commercial, retail, large industrial users and those with larger meters actually will pay a larger amount because they have more use of the system. But that is a phenomenal position to be in, from having a risk of having to pay, which I don't know how we would have ever done it, $60 per month, down to $30, down to $15, to hopefully between $8 and $11. So a lot of work has been done by a lot of folks. Appreciate the commission's support and hope that the residents understand. We continue to put all of the information out on this project, but we would not have been able to be in this position had it not been for us being able to get both that grant and the loan. So hoping for your consideration on approving this, and therefore it will, if upon approval, will be forwarded to the state of Michigan tomorrow. The bond sale process will occur in mid-August, and the closing is set for August 28th, which means we will have access to funds within a couple of weeks afterwards to reimburse for costs that we've already paid, which are just over $750,000 out of our funds already, and then be in a position to be able to roll forward on paying future obligations with this project. And I'll explain a little more under my report of where we stand on the project itself. But it's a lot of info. I hope it helps.
Madam Mayor, I think it's important when you're relaying these conversations to your citizens that you were under a compelling order to do this work. The work was going to happen regardless. How you were going to pay for it was still up in the air, but you were under an order. And, you know, as city manager points out, you know, that original order, when you tabulated the cost, was going to be a huge hit per citizen, per bill, per month. And your actions have taken that down to a much more manageable level, which you should commend yourselves and commend the community. But there was no negotiating that order. That order was an order of the state on your water. If you read your latest water quality report, you're doing very well. Very well. Not even a PFAS hit. So you're doing very well. But bear in mind when you discuss this, you need to make it clear to people that this was happening regardless of how we end up paying for it. And you're in a much better position than you were.
I also think it's important to state again, and we've stated it before, for the average resident in this city, they will likely never pay the full bond amounts and dollar amounts. You would have to live in your home and be in your home for 40 years of this. And I say that because most people don't live in their home for 40 years. They move from home to home or community to community. So even though we have to look at it in a 40-year term, the average residents will not be paying this across the time. And I think that's important to state, and being able, as Mr. Davis has said, to really get us in a position to have safe, quality water for the long term. These are fixes that are 50, 60, 75, potentially 100-year fixes. That's the age of the water system components that we're replacing right now, near 100 years. So this is a long-term solution in preventing
You're
problems.
enjoying very good water. And that's, I think,
Well,
thing to be proud
and the
of.
other plus is, once we get done with the water and sewer, it repaves the majority of the roads, which
Yes.
everybody can't stand.
Whichever.
So that's an extra plus in there that's covered under this whole grant.
Roads, hundreds of individual
Yes.
Yeah.
lead and copper water lines
Yeah.
that otherwise would be a separate obligation entirely by the property owner. So we're able to pick up, those lines that have been identified as needing replacement. So there are a lot of good positive pieces that really are saving the residents and what would have been their out-of-pocket costs in that case, too.
Absolutely.
If I may add, I think it's important to understand with the Flint crisis not far in any Michigander's rearview mirror here, how we cannot understate the importance of the 106 lead lines being replaced here with this project, and how important this is, how important it is for the roads, as Commissioner Hendrick mentioned, getting these things fixed, but also the size of this $13 million grant. I did some digging since we last talked about it, and it never quite set in with me how unusually large that grant is for a community of our size and the work that the body did. Of course, before I came along, I have nothing to do with this, and don't give me credit, but thank you to our city manager, our engineering firm, F&B, working with us, and the rest of the offices in pulling this off. But this grant is monumental. It's gigantic, and the way it was described to me is once in a lifetime opportunity to pull that in to make this happen. And so I want to thank you and everyone who's had a hand in making this happen, and how important it is for the community going forward.
Commissioner O'Brien, take sometime to look at how many people applied and how many goose eggs were issued.
Is a big list.
And you also had to hit a threshold of a score of at least 90%. So those that were 85% or below, they got nothing. And many communities are under the same type of order. I don't know how they're going to be able to do this. And one last piece that I think emphasizes the importance. Although we have a 90-year-old water plant, the plant is in good shape for 90 years old. The improvements that are going to be made will extend the longevity of that plant. If we were to construct a brand-new water plant, you're talking at least $50 to $100 million for a water plant alone today. We would never be able to do that.
And when, it disheartens me when I hear things that this is a backdoor taxation. Please, this is not a roundabout taxation on the people. This is drinking water of high quality being achieved with very, very lucrative grant monies and other programs. People need quality water, and you have quality water, and now you're in a position, as Commissioner Hendrick said, to have that going forward. This is not a clever way to increase taxes. That's not what this is.
All right, nothing else, then roll call, please.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohr.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
On to 10A for unfinished business, the Comcast fiber proposal. A motion to approve the fiber internet agreement with Comcast for 5 years at a monthly total cost of $1,725 for installation of fiber internet at the city offices, the police department, and the DPW.
This is their standard contract format. We reviewed it, compared it, looked at it, and I think it's ready for adoption.
So you're going from $850 a month to $1,725 per month?
Approximately, that's what we pay
That's for everybody.
currently. Yeah, between the sites. And it is an increase, if I may, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. It is an overall increase monthly, but with that, you get the benefits of the speed increase, the reliability of the internet connection as well. And, going through this and having this conversation with Comcast, starting with the phone systems and then kind of transitioning into this, I think it's crucial. I mean, with vital government services, especially the police department and the DPW, to have reliable internet that has less likelihood of going down at any moment than your regular overhead internet. And the increased speeds, I think, help as well.
Definitely need it. Hopefully, we don't have, the majority of this town suffers from squirrel problems with chewing on the wires.
And just to clarify too, from the last time, it was confirmed Comcast will cover all construction costs. So there's no cost to the city for the construction, lines in underground to the three buildings, just that monthly cost of the $17.25 split between the three departments.
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract with Comcast for the fiber internet for a monthly fee of $1,725.
Support?
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohr.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yep.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to B, ordinance 24-005, the zoning ordinance amendment, second reading and adoption. A motion to approve that ordinance 24-005, the ordinance of the City of Marine City, St. Clair County, Michigan, to amend land usage title 15, chapter 160, zoning, by amending section 160.315, creation of membership, for the second reading and adoption.
Make a motion, we approve ordinance number 24-005 for second reading and adoption.
Support?
And again, all this is, we're going from 5 members to 7.
5 members to 7, exactly.
Bring us into compliance with the state zoning act.
Okay, and no discussion? Other than roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rohr.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yep.
And Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, and now we're into amending the resolutions for the charter amendments. And City Attorney, would you like to speak on that before we start doing those?
So, always an opportunity to learn. We had, Jason and I had just a great experience with the Attorney General's office on getting these resolutions in place. So let me preface everything, saying nothing's changed. Except the Attorney General, who was our review officer, and they screen and then the governor signs, but our reviewing officer spent an inordinate amount of time with us. And I just publicly want to thank that Attorney General. But what her primary position was that she wanted to see in one resolution, what does it say now, what do you want it to say, and what do you want the electors to see on the ballot? And then she pointed out, which we already knew, that what they see on the ballot has to be 100 words or less. And she said, you guys did a great job because it's so succinct. Most of yours were 48 words, 62 words, 72 words, and you captured the essence of what's happening. But you have more words to play with. So why don't we work together? She said, why don't we work together, expand what's going on the ballot just a little more, get up to 90 words or whatever. So that's what we did. That's all that's happening here. I would urge you just to approve these. We want to get them back up to the state. But in the format that's before you tonight, you're approved. And all we did was added some more definition to what would be on the ballot that the AG thought. You guys explained it well, but you got a few more words. Why not explain it even better? And that's all we did. So I would ask you to approve these resolutions. We're set to give them back to the state tomorrow, and we're all timely. But it was a very good learning experience about writing and communicating. These people have far more experience than we do on how the eyes see ballot language. I know all of you remember times in Detroit and other communities where people didn't know if voting yes meant yes or no meant no, and did A mean A? And so they're very comfortable now that we're presenting to our citizens good, clear, defined language. And we were most surprised by, you have that removal provision that has some controversy. I have in writing from the Attorney General's office, they recommend you have that provision. They liked what you did to the due process additions, to the hearing, evidence, presentation. They loved all that. But in the body of their first report, they issued us a whole report. They said they really think you need that provision. And that's, of course, because the governor doesn't want to have to be involved in these types of things. But anyways, they thought you did a good job. All of yours were substantively approved on the first round, and then we got into procedure. It's all before you tonight.
Quick question. Assuming these all get approved, what is the next step?
They hand them to him, and they go on the ballot.
And then that's it? So we're, after
We
this,
post near each polling location, we post the bigger picture of, okay, what did it used to say, what is it going to say now, so that when they go to do the ballot, they understand what they're doing.
Sure.
And what the result will be.
But are we having any meetings for discussion in case?
We can do what, we have plenty of time to do that. What you were talking about before was making sure that the folks know what we're trying to accomplish. And putting that out there for meetings, I agree with that.
maybe like end of September, beginning of October-ish, somewhere in there?
I think you want to be careful on how much you're promoting your ballots. There's some fine lines
We
there.
just want to make sure they understand what they're.
An educational town hall.
Yeah,
You want to put out,
Just laying out the-
we may want to put out a fact sheet, which you're allowed to do. It says, before you in November will be 5. Here's essentially what they're attempting to do. Here's what you should read, without expressing an opinion. You put out a fact sheet, and I would be happy to help you with that.
I saw an error in 2 of them. On the 013-2024, on page 2, where at the bottom, before it says yes or no, there's a question mark, not a period. Do you intend to have a question mark
Yes.
there?
Yeah,
It is?
because it's asking a question.
Okay.
That was one of her,
There's a question
that was
mark
one of
on
the
page
things that she wanted it, she really, sometimes you don't have to do that.
Right.
But she thought that putting the question mark at that location on all of them turns it into a
The
question.
question, okay.
Because it starts off with shall we,
Yeah.
Shall,
and it's
yes.
basically, Commissioner Ross, shall we get on our bikes and ride across the city and get dinner? Question mark.
Okay, we just want to make sure there's no confusion there. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Can the AG's report be furnished to the commission?
Yeah, we'll get you a package. I think it's worth your reading.
And the public.
We were, just parenthetically, we were getting along with the AG so well that she said, well, let me send you some examples where the 100 words really, we kept them to 100 words and we captured the essence. And then you can, it can help you with yours. Unfortunately, they were ones that were already approved for other communities, but they were like 130 words, but I didn't want to tell her. I was like, it's like 130 words here.
Right.
But anyways, we did get some ideas as she helped us through it. She never took a position that she was going to write it for us. She just took a position, you might want to think about this. It's a great learning experience for me, which I really appreciated.
Given the municipalities, it's impressive they were able to handle all those.
I was just surprised the attention we got and
Yeah.
the follow-up. Emails were instantaneous,
Wow.
replies to us.
What about the rest of the charter, the stuff that you thought we could?
So she said with that, on your next round, go ahead and administratively, or just administratively change those. And she said, if you have other things that you want to work at, wait until the next, and follow the same exact process.
I thought there were some things, though, you thought that were going to be just corrected because.
Yeah, I talked to her about those. I gave her the list, and she was going to let me know which ones we can just pen, But she encouraged, she says, you know, I understand, she goes, I understand what you're doing. You didn't want to form a charter committee. You didn't want to go through that whole year-long process of redoing the whole charter. She says, it seems to me like you picked 5 that were important to you, and then she said pick 5 next time and make it a process.
And Lisa, you're talking about the ones that could be fixed by Municode, right? That
Correct.
automatically.
Correct, they're just
Yeah, the
worded.
Unity Code will just update illegal
Defines the-
citations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
Well, thank you for this work and making sure Marine City matters in the eyes of the AG's office and keeping on their attention. No matter what educational or town hall piece that we end up doing in the future, there's always going to be a couple of citizens who will see them for the first time when they go to vote. And so it's really important that they're correct on the ballot. And so thank you for that diligent work.
I agree with you. I agree with you. So you still can't approve them as a group. You still got to go one by one. But
And we wanted to go forward to the public to make those clear decisions and understand what they're doing because it really matters to the city how it's going to go.
Right.
It's a decision beyond us.
Rita, did you have any more? I thought you mentioned a couple corrections.
There was the same thing.
Oh, okay.
As long as it's clear.
But it
I
always
just- Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it
Shall we,
was, yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
shall we, blah, blah, blah. I just thought it might be confusing to some people, and it's like, why is there a question right there? But then there is a yes or no, but yeah, to make sure it's worded right.
Got it.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended resolution 013-2024, the amendment to section 3.3 of the charter.
Support?
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yep.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, for D, amendment to the resolution 14-2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended resolution number 014-2024, the amendment to section 3.11 of the city charter.
Support.
Any other discussion on that one? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, E, amend the resolution 15-2024.
Make a motion to approve the amended resolution number 015-2024, the amendment to section 3.20 of the city charter.
Support.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to F, amend resolution 16-2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended resolution number 016-2024, the amendment to section 5.4 of the city charter.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, and to amend resolution 17-2024.
I'll make a motion, we approve the amended resolution number 017-2024, the amendment to section 13 of the city charter.
Support.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rourke.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, on to 11A for new business. We have the 300 Broadway Advisory Committee building use request. Funny discussion on that first before we motion?
We do have a representative here who has penned the letter. Ms. Merchant is in the audience. Very clear request, I believe. This is work that is being coordinated by the 300 Broadway Subcommittee, reviewed by the Historical Commission, and a request to use the teen rec zone area of the building this coming weekend during the Finsterwald Art Fair for a historical display I guess we'll call them storyboards and educational pieces. Would you like to model, Vanna?
Laura, stand on the spot.
We have them here.
Yeah, the orange.
So there's 11 boards like this, and then there's also artifacts that we'll be using that are in the building. We'll have them on display and safe under glass. And then we'll also have a video that has a lot of photos of the exterior of the building so that people can get an idea of what it looks like right now without accessing that section of the building.
Very nice.
Aim it at the camera. Thank you. They really look great.
I spoke with Aaron today, and I will be responsible for opening up the building, closing up the building, ensuring that nobody goes anywhere other than the teen center, and that the only people that use the restroom will just be volunteers, who some of them are senior, like in their 80s. So if they can just use them, he said he was okay with that. So.
He and I discussed that this afternoon, too.
Okay, good.
It's an acceptable proposal.
I have a question. Do we need additional insurance or anything for this?
No,
This is all
because
covered?
this is our own committees,
Okay.
they're actually covered under our policy, and we are covered and insured for anybody who will go into the building. That is the ADA accessible portion of the building as well.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we allow the 300 Broadway Advisory Committee to use the, what section of that, what do you want to call that?
Former teen
The
zone.
former teen
Teen
zones
zone.
area center only for display purposes.
Support.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Commissioner Rory.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross.
Yes.
Mayor Vandembosh.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryce.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
And Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. On to 12A for administrative reports, the city attorney report.
I'm good this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, city manager report?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Most of our conversation tonight for me has been water-related, so I want to continue on that a little bit. I believe that commissioners are aware, but the public may not be aware, although there have been some press releases out, that Marine City is one of 14 communities who are now part of a recent grant, actually inclusion in the upcoming state fiscal year budget for a $1.5 million grant program to cover costs for our water monitoring system. So we've been participants in the water monitoring system for a number of years. We usually pay close to $8,000 per year from our water and sewer fund for the monitoring services. And also, we're responsible for additional costs for additional equipment maintenance. So this will be very helpful for us and 13 other communities moving forward and ensuring that we have a robust system in place, as we've had, to detect any type of contamination that would come to the water intake system before it goes through the water processing and treatment and onto our residents and users. So again, great news for us, very helpful, and
Can I ask one question?
we always take that. Yes.
So that's covered under our water bills and that, so how is that going to impact the user fee that currently pays for the monitoring system?
So again, the cost, $7,000, is really a minimal cost,
Yeah.
but we will look at it. It is a budgeted amount, so any adjustments we can make. Again, it really will come down to pennies per users.
Yeah.
But money coming in will offset, and we'll work with the treasurer on any type of adjustment on bills. We know that moving forward, and likely in October, we will have to come, Katie and myself, to this body requesting an adjustment to our fee schedule to start the charges for the bond. We need to start collecting in advance of the project being completed, because our first payment, which is a principal payment, will be due actually next April of '25, and, excuse me, an interest payment. The principal payment is then in October. So this will be a good time for us to make those adjustments. The state fiscal year doesn't begin until October 1st. So you can expect that at some point in September, we'll probably have that included with the adjustments in front of you. So
Yeah,
that's,
We've been in that monitoring system since the beginning. We're the only community that never got out of it.
yeah, since its inception, and I was at St. Clair in the time, and I believe it was 2010 or so, and Marine City, you're right, we are the only community that did not at some point opt out of the system.
Yeah.
So it's great to have. It's like insurance. We hope we never have to use it, but it's there.
I think we've been featured in the Free Press or Times Herald. It was an article.
I believe,
regarding the communities that
I
got-
believe there was something in the Times Herald, and I know the press release was sent out. I believe it was picked up by both the Detroit News and Free Press, or whatever combined
Communities up and
publication we
down the
have.
St. Clair River.
Yeah,
Chief.
14 in total,
Yeah.
which is great. Also, our annual water quality report is posted on our city website. Again, I believe that Attorney Davis had indicated, kind of took a little thunder away. We had a very good report this year, and we've traditionally had very good reports. So our water quality in our system is below any non-acceptable levels for lead and copper that the state sets, and also in regards to PFAS. And there have been questions from some of you. We had lower than detectable levels of PFAS. So this is system-wide. This is great for our system. We also had no other major issues in the system. You're regulated by the number of boil water alerts or those type of things, and we were well below any of the levels that are reportable or signals for us. So again, we have maintained a water system from pipes to treatment plant very well, considering their ages and their conditions. And I know that as we work through this process of getting new lines in place and upgrades to the plant, our DPW staff will be thrilled to not have to go out numerous times in sometimes the same day or week for 100-year-old water lines, and our residents will see a great benefit, not just of continued quality, but also increases in pressure and volume and sizing of lines. So kudos to everyone that works for the city, including our contracted services with F&V operations, for maintaining great operational systems on both the water and sewer side. Reminder that Maritime Days is coming up this weekend, and of course, visit the art show and the 300 Broadway display. I want everyone to enjoy and have a safe weekend. A lot of activities. The committee continues to work very hard to add to this event every year, and it looks like it's going to be, again, very successful event, so please go out. Thank you, CTV, for accommodating our change of venue tonight, our portable little setup, so we appreciate everything that you've done. And then the last item I have for you is, in my update this week, I had to include some information on really what ended up being an 11th hour call from a representative from Michigan Department of Transportation concerning funding for a pilot road diet. I wanted you to all be aware of this. That call was not finalized, until really yesterday. So I know that this is not the way we usually discuss these items, of putting something on and looking to make a decision in the 11th hour. And I'm not necessarily advocating that you do that, but I want you all to understand the importance that there had been no funding for a temporary road diet, which had been discussed before. MDOT does control M29. If they choose to do reconfigurations as part of their reconstruction next year, they have the right to do that. But they have offered, some funding has become available in this year's budget at the state, which ends September 30th, that they would do a pilot temporary road striping for the 1 mile section of 29 or Parker between West and Chartier. I'm bringing it to you because that offer was provided yesterday. MDOT totally understands that it is a decision by the city. If you choose to go forward, it doesn't mean that that offer won't come up in the future, but it may not. I, however, am not in a position to make that decision, and I also do not want to be in a position of not having shared that information with you as it was provided by MDOT. So I apologize for it coming literally in the 11th hour, but I wanted you all to be aware of that, and it's usually not the way that I like to throw things on the table, because we do like to put them on the agenda. I had asked if we could put this on the August 15th agenda, and the concern from MDOT is if another community steps up and has needs, that money may not be there. It is available now in the budget, but it may not be there tomorrow, next week, or the week after. So I share that with you at the pleasure of how the commission wishes to discuss this, if they do, or move forward on placing it on a regular agenda for the 15th in hopes that it may still be available. I will tell you, though, again, keep in mind the state's budget runs from October 1st to September 30th. They are under a timeline that if this is something that is desirable, they will be willing to do that. Also, this would not be a permanent feature of that roadway. That can only be done by resolution passed by this commission at the end of any type of pilot. Entirely up to the commission if you want to discuss this now, in the future, or not at all.
So just to put that in layman's terms, it's a test that scrape the paint only off, repaint the lines, and pilot it.
Correct.
So no change to the road.
Curb to curb.
Curb to curb is exactly
Stays the same. No modifications to the road at all, other than removal of the existing striping
Striping.
and replacing of new striping that would indicate one lane each direction, a center turn lane, and a portion reserved for bike use as a shared use on the roadway. And again, I do think it's important, at least 3 of you on this commission were not on this commission in 2022 when the original Bridge to Bay application was made in September of 2022 and a resolution approved in October of 2022. It was not a unanimous vote at that time. It was 5-2 in each occasion. And there were concerns that were raised by the commission, and I'm assuming probably the public at that point. I wasn't here either. But MDOT has that portion. We approved a larger Bridge to Bay piece. That is still intact, and I think I had indicated in my memo that we still have the funding under the TAP program, which is a transportation alternative program that does not impact our project, but there was a centerpiece of our project that was MDOT's responsibility. Therefore, it was not subject to approval at that point. MDOT did and has considered road diet. They're doing that in Algonac. They're doing that in Port Huron. They've made an offer to us. If we want to do a pilot program, they will do it, but they will not do anything permanent until, if chosen, until this commission gives a resolution.
Mr. Hendrick?
All right, a couple questions. Since I was around when they did that the first time and I wasn't for it. Do you have any idea what it's going to cost them to do this? Can you get me a figure?
I don't know if I could get a figure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I could get a figure quick enough, because again, that's MDOT's cost, not ours.
Yeah, I know.
I know in the past, striping is, for a mile striping, and I can just go on past experience in another community, mile striping, depending on what they have to do, could be $30,000 to $60,000, because you're taking out an existing, you're putting in another type of striping. But I can ask if I can get that.
Yeah.
And I could probably get some figures tomorrow, although they may have to bid that out. They probably have a contractor. I'll try my best.
That's one thing. And if they do a temporary, how long are they talking?
So my understanding is if they were able to do this, they would like to have it completed prior to, I need to have it completed prior to October 1st of this year, because that's the funding window. And it likely would be in place until at least spring of next year, potentially up to summer before they do the reconstruction. There is a 2025 planned and budgeted reconstruction, which is a mill and fill of that section of Parker.
Okay.
So I guess the best way to say is if they did a pilot, it likely would be in place before October, would be there until at least spring, if not early summer,
Okay.
when they start the construction project, and if not approved, would be gone. The same road design you see today will be back. If approved by resolution of the commission, then you would see it become permanent. That's the information I've been given from MDOT.
So they told us that we would have the option to do this. I don't see doing this, because now the whole point of this is so they can get these bike lanes in there, and we're going to do this through the winter, which meant nobody's going to use it. I mean, so, and then if we decide we don't want it and we want to put it back, they wasted all that money on that, plus their study. And I know the people of this community should have every right, and this is not for you, every person in this community has got a right to speak up on this, because this highway is getting so bad where they keep narrowing it down, and then you have people that go slower and you can't get around them. I mean, there's only 3 places to get around people now: Algonac, Marine City, Marysville now, and then up farther. It's very difficult because you have everybody, the looky-loos that want to see the river, and that's fine, but it gets really miserable on that road. And this out here, I think, is going to be a nightmare to try to get people to do it for 6 months or whatever, and then if it's not, then they got to go back. You know what I'm saying? It's such a big adjustment. But I know all the people I've talked to, they do not want this road diet after what happened in St. Clair. I'm kind of surprised at Elginak myself that they're looking at it for that section they have, but I don't see spending that kind of money on a 6-month thing through the winter when, right now, who uses it? When I go through St. Clair, again, it's the grass cutting guys and the delivery guys, they all use and block up those bike lanes. I hardly ever see a bike in those lanes, and I think it's going to be a real problem out here, because I remember you brought up the fact that they've done studies with all the amount of driveways and whatever that we have along here. It's different
it's
than other
dangerous,
areas.
yeah.
It becomes more dangerous, and then we're going to do it in the winter.
Right, which is not a good test
Madam
for
Chair.
bikes.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to be lawyer downer, but we're coming dangerously close to this becoming an agenda item without notice to the public. We're having a very
Yes.
active discussion about a topic that was not on the agenda. I think we tend to be right. If people had known this was going to be on the agenda,
They'd be here.
Yeah.
we have more chairs necessary. So I know it's important, and I understand, you know, the urgency of the calls that just came, and I think the knowledge has been, but we can't allow this to morph into an agenda item.
And keep in mind, again, in my discussion with the representative from MDOT, as recent as yesterday, I expressed that this item should be placed on the August 15th agenda. However, I do understand their timeliness, that money is first come, first served, and it's available. That person at MDOT, I'm sure, was doing what their boss told them to do, reach back out, made the offer, I delivered it to you, because I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't share that with you. So I understand.
I'd like to see us postpone this until the public's got a chance to
Yeah,
speak on
and
it.
again, there's no action item listed here. I'm
Yeah.
sharing it with you. If you wanted to do something, I was simply looking for direction of how you want to do it, if you want to do it, but it's not an agenda item.
I definitely believe that we should put it on the next agenda.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think
People
we're
should-
running the risk of this
Yeah.
filing not being on the agenda, and I would like to hear more from the public about this.
And if they feel they don't have or won't have the funding, then that's from MDOT. I shared with you what I have
Yeah.
Yeah.
as of yesterday.
Okay.
That's all.
Could we ask you, is this possible to let them know, inform them that we will be making a decision August 15th?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I indicated in my...
Without making like the agenda items, is
Right.
that?
I indicated in my discussion yesterday that it really should be an agenda item. You're too late for this agenda. I would make you aware of this. I also understand that they're saying, well, we may not have the money available or the time to be able to get this done. That's not us. My obligation is to share it with you. And again, I think Mr. Davis is right. This is a decision-making piece, even though it's not our money. But I needed to relay the information to you. It is our money.
Yeah,
Yes, but I mean,
it's our
not
money.
direct from our funds here at the
But
city.
it still is our
Correct.
money. Yeah.
Can I ask one last question for information for the next meeting? Is it possible to ask them about funding for, I don't know the jargon here, the terms. In Detroit with these bike lanes, there's all these little soft pylons that help partition them off from the road, right? It's one of the safety features. Is it possible to ask them about this if it's going to be a test?
We can ask, I highly doubt, matter of fact, I can almost tell you with 100% assurance, this is striping only if it goes forward. That if it were to be a permanent thing, that could be an ask for that, but this was not part of that, that portion, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
All good?
I think that's it. There's probably something else that'll pop in my mind later, but I'm good, I'm done.
No, thank you very much too for all that research you did on that and assuring that if we didn't end up doing that, it would affect the other part of the grant, or if we did do that.
There is a last piece. I just want to emphasize, the representative from MDOT did say, really, it's a decision locally in both cases. Pilot or permanent, both cases, local decision. They're not going to force something to be done that a community doesn't want. That hasn't always been the case.
Yeah.
But also, if this doesn't work, for whatever reason, that it either isn't approved, if they don't have the money, you will have a reconstruction project next year that will be as it is today, because they have to formalize plans. I get that. I think we all get that. So,
Okay, okay.
Okay, on to C for reports from department heads. And I see the fire chief booked on us.
Yep,
Yep, he's gone.
yeah.
All right, city clerk.
Just real quick,
Katie Bay.
new phone system installed 2 weeks ago now. If you've noticed, any residents have noticed, when you call into City Hall, there's now an auto attendant. You have a choice now to pick which department you want to connect with. Kind of testing it out, see how it works throughout the office and for the citizens. With that, if you have feedback, please let us know with how you're calling into City Hall. A website update. We were looking at this week into next week. I've kind of pushed it a little bit with the website developer due to the election going on. We're almost there. They're building it as we speak. We have a couple final touches on our end to do with forms and everything else. We want to make sure those are all correct, fillable, accessible to the public, make it easy for them to get forms filled out and back into us. So we're looking possibly next week, late next week, if not the following week, for that to go live. And then my last update is early voting is still going on for tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday from 8 to 4 in the Guys Community Center at 260 South Parker. And then election is on Tuesday, the 6th. Polls are open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And this is for the state primary. Voter turnout for early voting has been 48 so far over 6 days. So not very impressive. The opportunity is there, so if you want to come and vote early, avoid lines on election day, please do so. And you can get in and out, I promise you that. There are not lines now. We were hoping it would go better, but where we're at, not so far. Absent voters, we have a 67% return rate on absent voter ballots that have been issued. Again, about 50% of our absent voters, registered absent voters, have been issued ballots, and 67% of those have been returned, which is a very, very good number on returns of absent voter ballots. And that's all I have.
When do they need to send in their absent voter ballots?
Absent voter ballots can be accepted up until 8 p.m. on election day.
Thank you.
So I would caution against putting them in the mail, starting now, actually, with as slow as the mail sometimes moves. I would suggest dropping them off in person, either in one of our ballot boxes at city offices or in person. Clerk's office will be open on Saturday from 8 to 4 for the issuance of absent voter ballots as well as turning them in. So you have that opportunity as well.
Very nice. Okay. Katie? The Orange X.
Yes. I just want to throw it out there. I've been getting a ton of questions. Tax bills went out about a month ago, and the amount of them, people are really shocked at their tax bill. So just a reminder that if you're over 62, you have there are deferment options to give you more time. So if you need more time, please contact us with water bills as well.
Katie, can we also point out, again, a reminder, no change in our local millage rates. The increases are largely based upon the adjustments of values, taxable values of properties.
Yeah.
So that's important because we get a lot of questions, people saying, well, why did our taxes go up?
Yeah.
It wasn't because of any millage rate increases.
Yeah, and if you're over 62, you can defer, have some more time till February, those sort of things. Come in, ask, please. Because we'd much rather you take time and pay them to get some penalties and interest.
That's it. Very nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Fire chief didn't show back up? Okay. So 13 commissioner privileges and liaison reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Clausen.
Really don't have anything with the planning commission to report from the last meeting, but we do have maritime days going on. We've got other things going on. I understand, talking to the movie theater, that it's picking up a little bit. He's getting better movies and better stuff there, so he's kind of happy. He thought he was going downhill for a while. And so just remember, we do have a theater in town, a movie theater. There's theaters in town, but a movie theater. So as for, I guess we're off that agenda, but I'm not for the road diet, and I know some commissioners in Algonac are not. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Commissioner Bryson?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Commissioner O'Brien?
Vote, 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 once, but vote. And, enjoy Maritime Days. It's a great opportunity to share camaraderie and community with your neighbors and local businesses and local opportunities. Thank you to the 300 Broadway Subcommittee and all of those involved in this project. It's a wonderful use of the space. Very excited about it. When it comes to the water bill discussion, we have resources online to help if the water bill is difficult. Please come into the city office and ask about those, to echo the treasurer's comments about tax aid as well. So a lot of resources that can help you figure all of this out. Happy to help. That's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Ross?
Okay, yes, again, Maritime Days, very excited about that, and excited about what the 300 Broadway Advisory Committee's been doing with regards to these exhibits that'll be in the old teen zone. Go see that this weekend if you get a chance. And also excited about what the local nonprofits are doing to support that building and that effort. I know the Historical Society is selling weekend getaway tickets for a raffle ticket for the Grand Hotel. So if anybody likes Mackinac Island, go see a member of the Historical Society. I'm really excited about the new arcade and the new owners of the Heather House. They're wonderful people, and I just love that our local businesses are thriving. And I, for one, am a fan of the road diet. I've made that pretty plain in many of my discussions. One of the things that I think a lot of people are missing is it's not really about the bikes. This is about slowing people down through our town. On Parker Street, we get so many of the businesses complaining that nobody stops to see them, that they're the ignored side of town, that Water Street gets all the attention. Well, if people could slow down and see these businesses, I think it would be a huge benefit to everyone. And my primary focus really has been the safety of those crossing these roads. And there will be kids crossing these streets all throughout the winter while they're walking to and from school. So again, I get that there's not too many passing areas, and frankly, if you want to pass people or get to work quickly, take King Road, take a different route. The Water Road or these local roads are for, local businesses and things like this. So I'm all for it. Again, I think this is the best opportunity we could possibly get to have a free trial, basically, to try this out. Give it a chance. If we don't like it, we can turn right back around on it before the road gets milled and capped and keep it the way it is. But in my mind, this opportunity is very good. I fully agree that we should table it till next meeting. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there. Again, I'm supportive of the businesses, of the safety of our kids crossing the street. I still have a kid in Marine City High School. I'll be there for the next 4 years. And, again, this through our city is not a thoroughfare, not a raceway, not a passing zone. It is a delicate city street. I hope that people understand, see, and respect the businesses that are there, and that they end up thriving as a result of something like this. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Rory?
I'd just like to encourage everyone to vote also. It's a privilege that we have here, and please do, and enjoy the Maritime Days and the Arts Festival that's at City Hall. That's it.
All right. We had a pension meeting this week, and all the investments are going well, so that's good news. And I also want to encourage people to vote. There's a number of millage renewals and several new millages on there, so you really want to make sure you get out and vote. I know everybody's complaining about how tight the wallets are. This is your opportunity to decide one way or another what you want, but there's a lot of them on there. So you really need to get out and make sure you vote in this primary. Don't think that there's not a lot on there, that you should wait till the next election. You got to get in this primary and keep an eye on all these millages. That's it for me.
Thank you. And a lot of this, I'm just going to be echoing with other commissioners. Again, about Maritime Days, make sure you come experience all that. We've got great things going on every day, and make sure if you go to the art fair, you stop in and see the 300 Broadway display. And again, like what our treasurer said, if you're over 62 for the taxes or the water, you need help, come in and see them. Also, just help in general, I think Commissioner O'Brien had said, we've got things out there to help everybody with that best we can. And with the election, again, like Commissioner Hendrick said, not only do we have the candidates, but we have all these millages. I believe there's a total of 5 millages on there. It's very important. We did have a CED meeting on July 24th. We had a guest, Christy Jones, had come in, MEDIA, and she had updated us on a couple things in some area communities that are happening, and also told us the grants that's available for community members. So, and she stayed after and talked to anybody that wanted to talk to her, and that was a really good meeting. With that, I think I am done. So now we go on to 14 for closed session. The City Commission will enter into closed session to discuss a legal memo from council regarding COLA under MCL 15.268, a legal memo from council regarding service contract under MCL 15628H, and consider applicants for city manager position under MCL 15.268F. And can I get a motion to enter in a closed session? And just so everybody knows, there may or may not be any action taken upon returning into open session.
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Support?
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rohr?
Yes.
Commissioner Ross?
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryce?
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick?
Yes?
Commissioner Clausen?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion carried. 816.
Mayor, if I may, for the public, everyone will have to leave. We don't have the opportunity